Hello once again, and thanks to my channel. Thanks for being here. I appreciate you all. This is part 3 of overcoming childhood trauma. Okay. In part 2, I discussed various steps to take in order to begin that journey. Now, let's look at more steps. What are the other things to do? I'm also going to be adding some psychological perspectives because, as most of you may already know, I studied psychology. I have an MSc in psychology. So I love to bring in that perspective to help us understand. In part 2, I shared a lot of Christian principles, how to overcome using lots of Christian principles and healing, asking God for help, and all of that. Today, we are focused mainly on the psychological perspectives. Now, as we know, childhood trauma shapes how we see ourselves and how we see others. Yeah, the way we view ourselves, the perspectives we have of ourselves and others. It can also bring in trust issues. You don't trust people. It becomes very difficult to trust people. You kind of think about what's their intention? Why are they doing this? Things like that. So that's why it's important to address it so we don't lose out on excellent and good relationships. Now, the way we see and view ourselves can lead to negative patterns happening in relationships and even extending into marriage. Yeah, that's why these patterns have to be broken. They have to be stopped. The negative patterns, because you see yourself in a certain way. Probably you were abused emotionally, you were abused psychologically, and you started to believe what was said to you. Yeah, and that pattern, every time you try to get into a relationship, or maybe you're in a relationship, you see that in people, you begin to see it. That may make you close off. Yeah, you may put up a wall. Everyone reacts in different ways. Now, the good news is that healing is possible. Yeah, healing is possible through intentional steps that you begin to take. You need to take those steps, which I shared in part 2. Yeah, healing is very possible through intentional steps and what psychology calls evidence-based strategies. Yeah, you take steps and strategies that you know have worked or that you know work. That's why psychology is so good. It reveals that our brains, yeah, our brains are capable of change. It's not just there that, oh, I have a brain and that's it. I'm not good enough, and you believe you're not good enough. No, you can change that. You can change your story. Your brain is very capable of change. And that concept is known as neuroplasticity. All right? Neuroplasticity. That's the ability of the brain to change. You can change it. You can change the story you've always heard about yourself. You can change what you want your today and tomorrow to look like. Yeah, that's why I'm emphasizing on this week. As a relationship and marriage coach, I hear different stories. People come and say all sorts. And some people have given up. They feel there's no hope. They can't change. Nothing is. But I tell them that, look, it's possible to change as long as you are both willing. Both parties have to be willing. But as an individual, you can begin to change your own story by addressing your past wounds. Don't leave them unattended. You can create, when you address those past wounds, it begins to create new pathways in your brain. And when you create those new pathways, you are able to foster healthier relationships. Where you used to have trust issues, you are able to allow new people in, listen to them, and give them the chance, okay, to have a good relationship with you. Now, this is not only about intimate relationships, any type of relationship. But these are steps. You need to be intentional in taking these steps. All right. Now, first thing to do, there are various things that may trigger you before they begin to have their way. Yeah. Recognize and identify your triggers. What are those things that when you hear, when you see them, or when you see someone, it just triggers you and takes you back memory lane? Take time out, get yourself a notepad, a pen, and just take some moments, reflect. What are those triggers? Recognize them and identify your triggers. Okay? Because trauma often resurfaces in the form of emotional triggers. If you don't recognize them, these triggers will keep repeating over and over again. So that's why it's important when you identify these triggers, it begins to allow you to respond in a thoughtful way. You are responding in a thoughtful way, thoughtfully, instead of reacting. This is where what we call emotional intelligence. You recognize it even before they say something. You know that they are going there, and you are prepared. Yeah, you are now emotionally intelligent. You are prepared and you're not reacting because they want you to react. That's why they say things, do things. Yeah, so they get a reaction from you, a negative reaction. But you need to stop that by first identifying your own triggers. Yeah, recognize them. Yes, I recognize you. You are a trigger. You're telling yourself that, you're not telling them. You're telling yourself that you, this trigger, I recognize you. I have identified you. No more. From that moment, it loses its hold. It loses its power over you. Okay? That's the first thing to do. Second thing is reprocess the trauma. Okay? That's you reframe. So maybe as a child, you were told certain things, yeah, that wounded you so much, or some things were done to you, and you've been so hurt by all those things. Now, when these thoughts begin to come to you again, for example, maybe you were told you are ugly, you are no good, not you can never amount to anything good, and you hear those words over and over in your head again, instead of saying, oh, what that person said or what they did, change it. I am beautiful, or I am handsome. Okay? I can do everything I set my mind to. I can achieve anything I want. Just begin to change the narrative. Okay? There's a technical term, psychological term for that, which I will not bore you with now, but you can change what has been said to you. Begin to take steps, take action. Okay? Just change the story. Now, step number 3, you have to put boundaries in place, healthy boundaries. Okay? Develop very healthy boundaries, because childhood traumas can blur boundaries. And when the boundaries are blurred, it leads to unhealthy dynamics in relationships because you haven't put boundaries in place. Yeah? You don't have to, because you've forgiven them, you don't have to keep being in a relationship with them. You don't have to be seen to be friendly and chatting over the phone all the time because they keep doing that to you. Yeah, they keep doing it and repeating it. So you have to put boundaries in place. Yeah. Otherwise, you keep hurting yourself. You have to learn to set and maintain these boundaries in order to have relational health, good relational health, in order to have positive relationships. That's what we call good relational health. All right? Otherwise, everything will be negative. Each time they talk to you or say something, I remember after I experienced all that, now as an adult, my stepmom has 8 children. Her first child always was never happy because um, I was my dad's first child, and she didn't want me to be recognized as the first child. That's what it seemed like. So she wanted to be the one all the younger ones looked up to, you know. So I set boundaries in place. That was very important for me, for my health. I set boundaries in place. Even the slightest thing you say, that you innocently say, she takes it and she turns it around to mean something else. Even something as simple or as small as saying something like, oh, because I am in the UK. Oh, I'm like, wow, it's so sunny today. Or was it raining or something? I can't remember, but something about the weather. And she went, oh my God, all arms in the air. What do I mean? Am I trying to say that the weather in Nigeria is not good? Blah, 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 this and that, all because I said it was sunny, or was it raining? I can't remember. That am I implying that the weather, because then she was in Lagos. I'm not sure if she's still in Lagos now, but she was in Lagos at that time. Am I trying to say that why am I comparing the weather? I'm like, no, you know, after a while, I set boundaries. You can't keep, it's enough that what I went through with my stepmom, you cannot now do that. No, I'm not having it. So I set boundaries in place. So you have to think about ways to set boundaries in place. You don't need people hurting you, an adult now, their child. No, that's not possible. That's not going to happen. So put boundaries in place. It doesn't mean you can't love them from afar. You can. You've forgiven. You've released forgiveness towards them. That's the most important thing, that you are whole. Okay? Now, the next step is you need to practice self-compassion. Just love on yourself. Don't feel like, oh, what I'm doing? Oh my God, don't condemn yourself. Yeah? It's very important. Don't condemn yourself for taking all these steps to protect yourself. Remember, you're not only protecting yourself, you may go on to have children, you are protecting your children as well. Yeah. And you are teaching them that it's important not to allow people walk all over you, because they look up to you, right? So they need to stand up for themselves. They need to see you standing up for yourself. They need to see you practicing forgiveness, love, compassion, and all this. Yeah. Healing takes time, and it requires a lot of patience, self-kindness, instead of you criticizing yourself for past mistakes, things that you were even innocent of, things that other people did to you. Excuse me. Okay, forgive yourself. Yeah, all your perceived flaws, things that you think are flaws, that your mind is telling you, wow, don't do that, don't do this. Forgive, just release. Show yourself compassion, be kind to yourself. You're only trying to do your best. You're trying to do what's good for you to make sure you are healthy in every way, emotionally, psychologically, mentally, physically, every way. You're trying to make sure you are healthy. If you are trying to reach out to people and they don't want to have a good, positive relationship with you, if they find fault in everything you do, even to the extent of the way you talk and express yourself, there is nothing you can do about it. So show yourself compassion. Maybe one day they will realize that, wow, what they have done or the conclusion they have arrived at is wrong. And if at that point they want a positive relationship with you, and you observe that truly they have changed and repented and they really want a positive relationship with you, yes, you can go ahead. Okay. But show yourself some self compassion. You need to adopt a compassionate mindset towards yourself. Very important. Okay. The next point, you must foster open communication. Okay, because that trauma wants to keep you in darkness, wants to make you silent. Nobody must know. I must put up a perfect front. I don't want anyone to know I went through this, I went through that. That is what the enemy wants. Yeah, and it makes it difficult for you to share your needs, your feelings. All right. So, what can you do? Practice assertive communication. You need to speak up. Yeah. This will help you build stronger connections with others. If you don't speak up and you are struggling with this thing, you might find it difficult to communicate with other people, and people will begin to see you as being closed off and not want to have a relationship with you either. So you have to make sure you are open to communication, because you are dealing with this trauma that you went through, intentionally dealing with it. You're taking steps, all right, and not keeping yourself down. Don't keep yourself down. Look for, like I said before, a trusted community. All right. I said that in part two. So your healing will begin to start, and it will become evident. All right. People will begin to see that, oh, wow, you have changed. You're now more open. You are easier to talk to, and all of that. Because trauma wants to, and it comes in different forms. You may become a very quiet person. You may become um, withdrawn. It may present as shyness, painfully shy, and all of that, because you haven't dealt with it. There's nothing to be shy about. Nothing. Okay, you are beautiful, you are wonderful, you are handsome. Oh, okay. For some reason, my recording stopped, so I had to apologies about this. We're at the end of the video anyway. So healing starts with you taking small intentional steps. I really hope what I said before recorded. Yeah, I'm going to go over the video again. Healing takes small steps. So start your steps, be intentional, seek professional guidance to help you navigate this journey. It's not easy, yeah, but you can do it. Remember, I am a relationship and marriage coach. I use both faith and proven psychological principles to empower people like you, okay? To empower people I work with. You don't have to walk this alone. You don't have to go on this road by yourself. Let's work together to break you free from the chains of the past and to help you build a thriving future. It is possible if you are willing to take those steps. So I'm inviting you today, if you are willing to take the next step in your journey. Excuse me. If you are willing to take the next steps in your journey, I invite you to reach out today for a free consultation. All right. We have 30 minutes free consultation. Together, we can create a plan that brings healing and sets the foundation for a love-filled marriage and life, which you deserve. Okay? You deserve to have it, and you will have it. We are here to do the work with you, and it's going to be beautiful. It's going to be amazing. Apologies for the break. I'm not sure the internet went off for some time and it came back again. And apologies for my croaky voice, but listen to the message above all of that. Okay, we are human after all. So please share my videos, comment. I love to read your comments. All right, after watching the video, leave your comments. Let me know your thoughts about the steps I have shared this week. And yeah, press the notification bell if you haven't done that already. That way you receive notifications every time I post or upload new videos. So I share videos 3 times a week, Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays at 10 a.m. Go ahead, have an amazing day. Have a blessed life. Bye for now, Coach Glory.